Today we're going to do something interesting. We are going to build a stomp box. It's a tremolo pedal that a few years ago I bought a kit. Yeah, comes with all the components that you need. So I thought it's maybe time to build it now, a couple of years later. I'm gonna use one of my prototyping boxes because that's perfect for this kind of project. So there is not gonna be any drilling in this video. I got all the holes already pre-drilled. Yeah, this box is prepared for it, so yeah, that's what I'm going to use. Also, I need some instructions to make sure all the components is in there. So, and this can be found at the seller's website. Also, I need one of those so I can check the values on the components so I know it's the right stuff. And of course I need some tools. I'm gonna show you that later in the video. This is a very good tool for soldering and that kind of stuff. You just clip on the PCB here and you're pretty much ready to go. And something that I very much recommend is a soldering fume fan. Yeah, because you don't want the soldering fume up your nose. No. So I made these a couple of years ago as a, a project. It works perfect. It doesn't really work 100%, but at least I don't have to breathe in the soldering fume because that is not very comfortable, trust me. Basically, the fume goes in here. On the back side, inside here, I got a thick filter. I don't know if you can see it right there. It's right here. That most of the fume goes into the filter and then out from these holes here. Well, not the fume, but the rest of the air. So this is very good. So got a on and off switch right there. So this is something I recommend because you don't want the soldering fume in your nose, that's for sure. So let's go ahead and start this. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Let's get the show on the road. Yeah. So what you want to go ahead and do now is to, you can see there, that's tremolo there. Go ahead and take out the parts here and see if everything is in there. Everything comes in a package like this. All the components there, some wiring stuff, some more wiring stuff, some more wiring stuff. So that's always good to have. Here we got the IC components there, bezel, LED, a trim pot there, and then we have the wobble component right there. That one, we will have a closer look at this later. We got some rubber feet. What else do we got there? Three PDT switch. We got some pots there with the correct value on them. You can see the value right there, C100K there. All these are different, so we got stereo jack, mono jack, sorry for the focus there. We got some standoffs right there, and of course we got the DC jack. So this is pretty much the components that I need for this build. Also want to make sure that all the components you need is in there. So that's something that you need to check during the building. If the supplier have been very nice to you, he already branded up, marked up the value on these ones, so you don't have to struggle with, measuring all the components. Here we got some building. This is a parts list. So this is where you see the value of where it's supposed to be on the PCB. So this is very good for this type of build. We got a wiring diagram here, so we can see all the wires where they are supposed to be. We also see the DC jack there, the switch, the LED. Well, you can see everything there. The site I bought these from is that site right there. Go ahead and check them out. They have very cheap kits and all that kind of stuff. Of course from Germany, but I think they ship in all of Europe. I also got some schematics here. I don't need it really, so let's go ahead and take a look at the PCB here. I want to keep this video as short as possible, but I really think I need to do some talking here because there is people out there that have never done this kind of stuff before. So this is actually a layout of the PCB. You can see here that everything is marked up there. The hole is pre-drilled. Looks kind of decent. So this will help you to know exactly where the components are going to be soldered on there. So yeah, I really suggest that you start with putting in the components here, and that's a great start before you do any soldering at all. So let's go ahead and do this and see what it's gonna end. So as you can see here, I prefer to always start with the IC sockets here. You can see on the PCB that there is a little mark up there. Yeah, and if you take a closer look on the socket here, you can see it also a little jack right there. That means this one should be placed just like this. Yeah. So I prefer to start with these ones, so you just put in the socket there and you kinda bend these a little bit so it will stay in its place. Could be a little bit hard to do it the first time, but there you go. And you also go ahead and put in the other one as well, exactly the same, like this. There you go. Now it's time for soldering these ones, so I use my handy dandy tool here. And now you're pretty much good to go. Okay, so I think we're ready to go and solder our first component here. There we go. That's perfectly soldered right there. I don't know about the focus, but yeah, that's what it looks like. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is to put in some more components here. I like to bend the component like this. It doesn't matter which way you put it. So I bend it like this. I put it in the hole just like this. I put it in there. I bend the legs a little bit like that so it stays in its place. I do exactly the same with all of them. Now I make sure that I put this one exactly the same way as I put the other one. I don't think that's necessary, but I do. So it looks like this. I'm ready for soldering now. Yep. There we go. This is what it looks like. Now I always use my little clipper here to take away all the access pins there. So that's that. Looks great. That's the components there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in the R15 and R6 and R8. Yeah. There we go. Looks perfect. So let's go ahead and clip them off. This is what the PCB looks like now. Starting to look like something, at least. I'm gonna go ahead and solder the rest of the components here off cam, because it's kind of boring for you just to sit here and watch me solder, so I'll be back in a short while. So I soldered everything on there. Looks pretty good. There is only one thing that cannot be forgotten about. It's supposed to be a jumper piece there. So I'm about to go ahead and put in one of those. From there to there, and then solder it on the back here. So now we're all good to go. You can see the little piece of metal over there. This is all the components here. That's a little trim pot right there. Some capacitors, resistors, some diodes there. 1N40, 148, I believe those are. So what's missing here is basically the ICs there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in those. This is a TL072. It's very common in distortion pedals and that kind of stuff as well. DOD, for example, MXR 250, and so on and so on. There you go. Then I have the RC4558. It's very common too, so it's no weird stuff going on here. That's finished now. You want to make sure that you take this little piece right there away. It's pretty simple. You just take this one right there and just snap it off like this. There we go. Seems to be just perfect. So now it's time for the foot switcher. I want to put it just in a position that is perfect. You want to put it this way. This type of switch works in a row like this. So this is how it works. Those, and those. So that's why I want to keep it this way. As you can see now, the box is pretty much complete. Everything in there. DC jack and the stereo jack there. So the PCB fits just perfect, something like that. So that's how I'm going to put it. Yeah, there's enough space there for this one right there. Now when I got the first two wires here that will go to the PCB, I located them on the layout here. I can see that both this one and the other one goes exactly to the same spot, right? So I can twist those cables with no problem. Something like that. A little piece, you put it on there. All the way down to the bottom there of the LED. Then you need a lighter. Then you can try to heat it up like this. There we go. That's perfect. That's just about perfect. It's protected now. Okay, so I put in the first wire here and I'm ready to solder. So I wired up all the pots here. So I can see now that it fits just perfect like that. It's not too messy in here, but still it will be a bunch of wires in here, as you can see. I also want to cut these access wires off here. So I still got some more wires to do. I got from the switch here, this one from the LED, this one from the output jack there. But then I think we're pretty much good to go there with the DC jack. So yeah. Now I wired up I wired up everything. I made some little marks here, some dots, so I know where to put these standoffs. But to make sure that those are good, the height of those, I want to go ahead and put this one in here and see that the height is just perfect for this type of PCB here. And make sure nothing on the soldering side touches the actual enclosure. This seemed to be just fine. I'll go ahead and use those ones here. So take off the protection film there. I try to locate exactly above the dot there. I think that should be somewhere around there. Okay. I'll take the other one. I'll try to locate that one just over the dot. Somewhere right there. I think this is just perfect. This is not a problem here. I've done this so many times now. There you go. That's just perfect. Just snap it in there. There we go. Just perfect. Just perfect. So now I am very sure that this box works here. I've done several of these over the past years and I double checked everything, so I just have to push the wires down here and put the lid on there, and we're good for a test drive. So once we finished the box, we need some knobs on here, okay? I have some black knobs here, so I'm pretty sure these ones doesn't really fit on here, so I have to drill up the holes here a little bit. So to make sure if they fit or not. That's not good enough. It's a little bit too tight there. I'm gonna go ahead and find a drill and drill up the holes, maybe you know, just a tiny little bit. It fits just perfect on there. So I continue doing the same on all of them. There we go. Just perfect. So I think we're pretty much ready for a test drive now. I will use my label machine to make some new branding here, some labels. So that's what I'm about to do first. So I'm plugged in here. That's my clean tone, and let's see if this works. Perfect. So this is true bypass, clean tone. Yeah, so this means that it works just perfect. I'm very happy with this build, and I will try to use this pedal as much as I can. So yeah. So that's the building project of this pedal. I mean, this pedal is very, you know, it's not very complicated to build it. Even though you need to know pretty much about electronics and that stuff. But as long as you go along with the schematics and you know the wiring layout and everything, I think you're pretty good to go. And if you've done everything right, but it still doesn't really make any sound, there is a little trim pot in this one that you can use a screwdriver to adjust the trim pot until you get sound. So that's what you need to do. Also, make sure that when you're drilling the enclosure, make sure that there is no, you know, aluminum inside of the box that could cause, you know, problems and that kind of stuff. I definitely recommend everyone that are into this kind of stuff to try to build one of those pedals or whatever pedal. But it's very fun and it doesn't really take a very long time. I built this pedal over 2 days, but a total maybe 4 to 5 hours to finish the project. So that's it about this. I hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe I'll do some more pedal building videos in the future. So see you next time. Bye.